Welcome. Welcome to Sacramento. Welcome to the Vintage Monkey. Pretty cool spot, no doubt about it. So we appreciate all of you joining us this evening for what we've termed to be the Wealth+Health Client Appreciation Event for the fall of 2019. So we're excited at the prospect of having everyone here at the Towerpoint Wealth family in for this event. We're excited to have Dr. Bill Lloyd as our feature presenter. I think he's floating around here somewhere close. All right. Oh, I go. Should have taken inventory of everyone here. And I also wanted to introduce Shasta Smith, who is the proprietor of the Vintage Monkey, just to give us a couple minutes of background about exactly what this place is and how it came about and how it became a brainchild of hers. So Shasta.
I want to thank everybody for actually being here tonight for a couple reasons. I'll tell you a little bit of background history about this building. Many of you probably travel down North 16th Street on a regular basis and have no idea what is behind these brick walls. So that's why I welcome you tonight, because surprise, chandeliers and motorcycles. So this building has actually been deemed a historic building, built in 1925. And I'll fast forward a little bit because I don't actually know the history of its exact purpose in 1925, but some fun pop culture is in 1940, the Squirt soda bottling plant was in this building, and they had done a $20,000 renovation that made the big newspaper headlines at that time. And then we fast forward into today. And the way that we use this building today is on the other side of the wall over there where we can't see because the doors are closed. We do have one of the largest restoration shops for antique motorcycles, specifically here in the state of California. And then on this side of the building is our event venue. So we thank you for supporting small independent businesses, because we try to give you a big experience for what we call small business. So now people get to enjoy a little bit of the flavor of the vintage culture in a historic building, and yeah, that's about the short and the long of it.
And how long have you been open?
I've been in this building now for 3 years. I actually had a former building before this, and the big push was for me to expand and make it a little larger for more of the public to enjoy. And so I later moved into this building, but I've had Vintage Monkey for roughly 10 years and here for 3.
Where does the monkey come from?
It's not a romantic story, but to put very simply, many moons ago, I had a friend of mine that used to come visit while I would work on vintage motorcycles, and he would always say, "Hey, how's my monkey doing?" Kind of, grease monkey. So I just took that name, Monkey, and my love for vintage, and I just Vintage Monkey.
I have a question. Yeah. Are you a member of the NRA?
The NRA? No, but so I do have I have a 19-year architectural background, and so many of the things that are in here I've had my hands on and we've built. And so one of the things I like to use is kind of unusual materials and good conversation pieces. Yeah. So that's where this is inspired, is just a good conversation piece.
They're really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Shasta. As a money guy, I could never design something like this. I'm out of my pay grade. So again, at Towerpoint Wealth, we obviously enjoy not only working with and helping each of our clients to get to a point in their lives where they can say with confidence that they're financially independent. And along with the feeling of financial independence comes peace of mind, at least from a money standpoint. And that continues to be our core objective with each relationship that we have with our clients. So with all that being said, we felt that not only would it be a good idea to assemble an appreciation event, but also pair that with a theme that obviously goes hand in hand with walking around with peace of mind. And when we talk about wealth, we also need to focus on health issues. And that's where we felt that bringing Dr. Lloyd into our event this evening and being our featured speaker seemed to make a lot of sense. So I think we're in for a treat with what he has to say, and what I thought I would do before I introduce him formally is share with you some one-liners that came straight from the doctor's notes. So this is a collection of one-liners exactly as typed by medical secretaries. Patient has chest pain if she lies on her left side for over a year. On the second day, the knee was better, and on the third day, it disappeared. The patient has been depressed since she began seeing me in 1993. Discharge status, alive, but without my permission. While in ER, Eva was examined, X-rated, and sent home. The patient refused autopsy. And my favorite, patient has 2 teenage children, but no other abnormalities. An easy intro, inject some humor into the presentation. So Dr. Bill Lloyd serves as the Advanced Markets Group Health Director for Transamerica. He's an experienced clinician and award-winning medical educator. Dr. Lloyd is respected within the medical community as a dynamic leader and subject matter expert, sharing his thoughts and ideas commensurate to the approach that better living is a key contributor to healthy lifestyle. He communicates the merits of Wealth+Health throughout the U.S., as well as to professional and lay audiences nationwide. Active duty retirement from the U.S. Army Medical Corps, Dr. Lloyd held senior faculty appointments at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, and subsequently the University of California, Davis. Here. Where Dr. Lloyd received the Vice Chancellor's Award for the most significant physician contribution to medical education. He has authored or co-authored over 50 original manuscripts, textbooks, and research abstracts. And as a researcher, Dr. Lloyd has participated in numerous clinical trials for innovative medical devices and investigative medications.
That's the symbol, for that's the sign for that's enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say. He spends time in Sacramento with his wife, Dr. Mary O'Hara, and they love to explore Northern California, the wine country in particular. He skis, plays golf, and most importantly, spoils his 2 grandchildren. So without further ado, Dr. Bill Lloyd.
I'm going to try to go a cappella. If anybody wants me to talk louder or faster, just raise your hand, okay? Most of the time, when I come to speak, I'm speaking to financial professionals. Actually, it's rare when I have the opportunity to actually speak to normal people. How are you? However, in this era where we're trying to help financial professionals improve their holistics and the relationships they have, Transamerica recognizes that Towerpoint, Joe and Steve and their team, already understand this point and encouraged me to come because they get it. They know that it's more important to have a simple conversation than to simply load up on talking about product. They know you have questions. They know there are things that keep you up at night. And by having that conversation, ultimately, they serve you better than simply loading you up with insurance and annuities and charts that you couldn't understand if you wanted to. So that's really why I'm here. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to share this evening with you. And I'm grateful to Joe and Steve for the culture they've created at Towerpoint to help each and every one of you not simply survive retirement, but prosper in retirement. So for the next 3 hours, 30 minutes, we're going to talk about that inseparable connection between your money and your health in every season of life. And in order to have that conversation, we have to talk about how the population is changing. And America and Americans are getting older. With that delicious dinner you had tonight, with every bite, every single person in this room is getting older. No one is getting younger. And the young people who are here, few and far between, aren't having enough children. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Right? So there are enormous society changes coming down the road. All right? And you need to be ready for that. And we're living longer, and I'm going to prove it to you. And with living longer comes even greater challenges to both your health and your money. But there are strategies to navigate. And the good folks at Towerpoint know them, and by partnering with Transamerica, we have a system in place that will help you embrace retirement and live better every day going forward. And then finally, levels of preparedness for retired life. A lot of people don't prepare to retire. They simply show up on their 65th birthday, or they fill out the form, or they quit work, right? You want to think about preparedness for retirement. Even if you're already retired, there's still time to make lots of preparations. And by the way, somewhere in this room is the know-it-all. I don't know where you are. I'm going to find you. But whoever the know-it-all is here, maybe you do. But maybe there's something that I say that will mean more to your spouse, or to your colleagues, to your children, or your grandchildren. So I encourage everyone to pay attention. Even if you know it all, I promise you'll pick up one little piece of information that will benefit other people. If you take nothing else away from this presentation, think of these keywords. Awareness. What do I need to do to get ready? What connection? Are you talking to your financial professionals in an authentic voice? Are you hiding things? No reason to. If you want to get to the best solutions, you need to be authentic in your words, and you need to be an active listener, because these folks have important things to share with you. Resources. Where are those strategies, those tools and solutions to help you make the most informed decisions? Preparing, as I mentioned earlier. Are you preparing to survive retirement, or are you preparing to prosper during that retirement? And finally, trust. Decisions made in that rich soil of knowing that professionals are doing what's in your best interest. That's the recipe for success tonight. So as you heard, I'm Transamerica's health director. Now, Transamerica's not in that, employer private insurance space. So why would they need a health director? It's not like I sit behind a desk all day and deny guys their low T refills or things like that. Usually gets a bigger joke, bigger laugh out of that. No, I'm a different kind of health director. I spend about half my time working with what we call a content development team, creating presentations and pamphlets and materials and videos to help push this wealth and health message that I'll be telling you about. And the other half of the time I spend at airports, coming to see great people like you. So we recently relocated, but we were in Sacramento for 15 years. As you heard, I was in the Army for 28 years, University of Texas, UC Davis, and all the while devoted a lot of my energy to helping other health professionals understand best practices in caring for their patients. And I also moonlighted a lot, but not down in the emergency room, in the lay consumer space. That is, helping non-physicians, non-medical people better understand good health. I worked with NBC Universal in developing Healthology, which was the very first online accredited medical video website. This is back in the dial-up days, so these were very, very short videos, I promise. Right? The Doctor's Channel, a very popular website destination for physicians. Sirius Satellite Radio, thousands of broadcasts I did for Sirius Satellite Radio. For 8 years, I produced and hosted my own weekend live segment on CNN called Healthy Living. I don't do any of that for Transamerica. But I think you'll agree that some of those experiences and skills serve the company, our business partners, and ultimately you. Because I have a deep understanding of what people want to know about their health going forward, and I've learned some very cool ways to share that information. I love showing this picture of the Tower Theater. I don't need to tell you where it is. I'll tell you a funny story about it, though. As you know, they had the premiere of Lady Bird, right? Did the guy sell the Lady Bird house, that blue house, yet? I hear he wanted to change the color of it, and they won't let him now. All right? How many saw Lady Bird? See? It's the only town where more than 2 people live. And usually, it's one guy and one girl raise their hand, no matter how big the crowd is. She went, and he went just to please her, right? That's usually how it goes. But everybody here went inside. It was great. So I always close out by saying, so yeah, that's Sacramento, wonderful town. Does anybody know what's across the street from the Tower Theater? And then the mouths open up. Nobody knows. And I explained the original Tower records. And the room lights up, said, relax, it's a tattoo parlor now. It's gone, just like Toys R Us, right? You all know about the Gallup organization. When you hear about Gallup, they've been around since the early 60s. You think about political polls, Gallup polls. But they do all kinds of research. So not long ago, the Gallup organization went around the world and did a global survey. This involved 150 countries, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. And in every country, they had at least 1,000 respondents. Statisticians said this survey represented 98% of the world's population. Now, the language and the format of the surveys changed from country to country, but the first question was always, what does the best possible future look like? And in every country, in every corner of the world, the first response was always, I just want to have enough money to live comfortably. And number 2, around the world was, I just want to live well in good health with my family. Your wealth and your health. It's universal in every season of life. 2 authors, Rath and Harder, took all that Gallup data and turned it into a New York Times bestseller called Well-Being, now in its 2nd edition. They took that information, and when they looked at it, they discovered that it's not just wealth and health. There are 3 other pillars, 5 elements that make up our nature of life. You think of them as the currency of life. And when you talk to your financial advisor, I want you to think about these 5 separate elements of well-being. The first one is your career well-being. Basically, how do you spend your day, whether you're retired or not? Next comes your social well-being. Tell me about the relationships and loves that you have in your life. Next comes community. How does living in or around Sacramento enrich your life? We've already mentioned your financial well-being, that's your wealth, and after that, your physical well-being, your health. Those are the 5 elements of life, and humans have control over all 5 of those elements. But when Gallup did the survey, they discovered 2/3 of respondents said, yeah, I got 1. I'm in charge of 1 of them. The rest just happen. Only 8% of those 150,000 people said, I am the master of my universe. I am in control of all 5 of these. When we should all be in control of all 5 of these. And why is that? Well, for one reason, for many people, they don't have a career. They just have a job. It's just a way of making money. It's interesting. A lot of people, frankly, don't like meeting new people, especially as they get older. That notion of community, oh, it's so nice. I was over there on American River Drive. Oh, it's wonderful. But a lot of people, including some people in this room, probably the know-it-all, couldn't tell you the full name or the background of their own next-door neighbor. So guess what? That leaves us where we started with wealth and health. It's top of mind throughout your life. Transamerica knows this. And going forward, Transamerica is going to build awareness of the inseparability of wealth and health in every season of life. Because Transamerica knows that good health and good wealth contribute to a satisfying life, but they both require preparation and lifelong maintenance because they're both vulnerable and susceptible to catastrophe. Oh, but when they're working together, they form a very strong foundation for a solid retirement. Going forward, Transamerica will build awareness of this concept of wealth and health throughout the financial services industry. But before we go forward, let's go back. Let's go back 100 years ago today to October 2nd, 1919. What was going on 100 years ago today? World War I was over by almost a year now. And America was coming out of the great flu pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic. Worldwide, 42 million dead. 1 in 5 Americans got the Spanish flu. It was a horrific medical catastrophe. On this day, 100 years ago, what was average adult longevity in the United States? How long did the average adult live? Anybody? Give me a number.
52.
52, that's a good number. Anybody else?
48.
48. 60? 62. Who wants to give me 65? 47. 100 years ago today, average life expectancy, longevity, 47 years measured from birth. Tina Fey is 47. Matt Damon is 47. Shaq is 47. The Rock is 47. Cameron Diaz is 47. Because of that catastrophe, governments poured enormous sums and resources into public health and medical research. And because of that, we had the introduction of sanitation, public health, and vaccines. And because of that, 1 century later, Americans now live 81% longer. 81% longer in just 1 century. It's not the discovery of insulin. It's not heart transplants. It's not highly targeted anti-cancer chemotherapy. It's hand washing. Public sanitation and vaccines are the reason we now live long enough to get diabetes, to get heart disease, and God forbid to get cancer. World War II brought about the great population boom. Right? Soldiers coming home and all those new families. Right now in America, nearly 11,000 Americans every single day sign up for Medicare. And tomorrow, another 11,000. And this is going to continue for another decade. Welcome. There's plenty of us, and there's many more coming. You need to know about the boomers. Back in 1900, through the pandemic, average life expectancy was 47. Today, a 65-year-old man can expect to make it to just about 85. A woman, 86. Some less, some more. But check this out, 85 plus, the extreme old, they're the fastest growing population group in the country right now. If you're 65 years old today, there's a 1 in 4 chance you're going to make it to 90. There's a 1 in 10 chance you're going to make it to 95. That is a long haul. I hope you have the money and the help to make it. Right? Let's go down the road 7 years. By 2026, there'll be 70 million Americans, and 9 million of them will be in that extreme old group. Other problems to consider. The growing number of Alzheimer's patients and diabetes, which we'll touch on. But in 1960, Americans spent 5% on health care. 5% of all spending in this country was related to health care. They calculate now by 2026, 20%. 1 in $5 are going to go to health care. So let's recap. People are getting older, more and more older people, more and more of them living longer, which means more chronic health problems, and health care is going to be more and more expensive. It's going to take up more and more of your budget. There's a theme here. I want to go a little bit further about this population because I find it very, very fascinating. If we go back to 1910, only 4% of adults made it to 65. Most families knew like one person who was 65. Go a little bit up the road to August of 1935. Does that ring a bell for anybody? August 1935, enactment of Social Security. And back then, 7% of Americans made it to 65. Uncle Sam knew back then, I'm not going to have to write too many checks, and they're not going to be around to collect too many of them. But now, by 2050, 20% of the population will be over 65. We better call the print shop. We're going to need a lot more checks. Maybe the raw numbers will mean more to you. Let's break them down. They're kind of hard to see. 44 million at the beginning. Currently, if we go forward to 2060, let me make it easy for you. Boom! 98.2 million. Round it up, 100 million. 100 million Americans, 65 and older in 2060. I got in an enormous tussle with the legal and compliance group at Transamerica. Said, change that slide, it's not a projection. Oh yes it is, Dr. Lloyd, it's a projection. No, it's not. It's not a projection. Because every American who will be 65 or older on this day in 2060 is already walking the planet. This is going to happen. Well, who's going to take care of all these older people? Back in 1950, there were 7 workers for every retiree. Now, this is not a Social Security discussion. This is a caregiving discussion. What do you think the number is today? Too high. It's about 3. Right now it's 3, and it's going to continue to go lower. More and more older people, fewer and fewer younger people to take care of us. It's going to be a colossal challenge. I myself personally am worried about it. I lay awake night thinking about this. There will not be enough young people around simply to change the batteries of the robot that's going to be taking care of me. Oh, don't forget, doctors are getting older too. Look at this chart. Physician census in 1982 versus 2015. The dark blue, 1982. Look how it's all shifted to the left. In 1982, you were much younger, and so was your doctor. There are 850,000 practicing physicians in the United States, and 51% of them are over the age of 50. 10% are over the age of 70. Next time you see your doctor, you might want to ask to see her driver's license. The span of this chart is so broad that the doctors at the far left are the very same doctors at the far right, except there's far fewer of them. Many physicians have left medicine. Many have retired. Sadly, many have died. One ran away to Transamerica. So this begs the question, are we going to live longer? I just spent 10 minutes telling you we're going to live longer, but are we going to live better? That's where I turn it back to you. Are you willing to plan and prepare? Because if you do, and if you're willing to partner with your associates here at Towerpoint to make the right decisions regarding finances, right decisions regarding health habits and changing health habits, and right decisions about positive lifestyle choices. Get out and walk every day. If you can do those things, then your future will be assured of having financial security, improved health, and a more dignified retirement. And that's what this presentation is all about. A few more data points before we get into the serious stuff. By 2030, there'll be 358 million Americans, and nearly 55 million of them will be diabetic. We've already got 30 million diabetics in this country, and a quarter of them don't even know it. Here's why diabetes is important, and you need to tell your children and your grandchildren this. Diabetics spend $9,000 a year out of their own pocket because of their diabetes. Lost wages, transportation, higher insurance premiums, deductibles, doctor's co-pays, stopping anytime you want, the trip to the pharmacy, more deductibles, generics, paper tests, little meters, lab studies. It goes on and on and on. We have young 30-year-olds here in Sacramento that are already diabetic, and they're blowing $9 grand a year. By the time they're 65, they will have evaporated a savings or investment opportunity in excess of $250,000. And it doesn't stop at 65. Oh no, the diabetes just gets started then. That's when the real trouble starts, and you begin to deplete your assets, taking care of the diabetes and the other comorbid conditions that piggyback on top of that diabetes. Number one tip for young people on how to save for retirement: don't become diabetic. It's a disease that was not here a century ago. Type 2 diabetes was invented by our society, and we can find the cure. And in the meantime, you keep your grandchildren active. So this whole raises the question, how long do you want to live? Let's see a show of hands. How many want to make it to 100? Let's see it. You look around. What happened there? They think, what? Oh, they tripped it down. Is that a circulatory problem? No. They're thinking, well, you know, if I knew my name, and I could stand up on my own, and I knew I was 100, and I could toast myself on my 100th birthday, yeah, put me down. If not, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Well, how long are we going to live? Does anybody know? Yes? Your Social Security knows how long you're going to live. Yes? They have what they call the remaining life expectancy formula. Now, this is not that little calculator on the Social Security webpage, how long are you going to live? Because that measures life expectancy from birth. And sadly, a lot of people don't make it to 65. So they're not counted. This counts only the people that make it to 65, and then 75, and then 85. It's very interesting and kind of creepy. Anybody want to know? They do this calculation every 10 years. The first time they did it was in 1980. They do it alongside the census. And the first time they did it, they found out if you made it to 85, you're going to 91. On average, some a little less, some a little more. They do it every 10 years. The most recent was our last census in 2010. Now that's a 30-year gap. And Lloyd was saying just a few minutes ago, 81% improvement over a century. What's the proration? My gosh, will it be 9, 12, 15? Are we going to live to be 125 years? Not so fast, Leroy. In fact, just a few months longer. But wait a minute. You said we're going to live a lot longer. I said longer, not forever. Eventually, the parts break down. Yeah, I know. You got artificial lens, you got an artificial knee, artificial hip. We talk about aging. We talk about longevity. The new buzzword is frailty, which is actual aging of individual cells that eventually poop out. They just can't do it anymore. So you hear about these people that have a wonderful life. They're running marathons when they're 85. My dad ran a marathon when he was 80 and he finished. And they have this wonderful life, healthy life, and then whoop, bad day or a few bad weeks. That reverse hockey stick, they call it. Right? That's the pathway. I think that's kind of what we'd all like, aside from just dying in your sleep. Right? Well, let's pray for that. Maybe that'll happen.
Not tonight.
We're way off, but we're away in the weeds now. All right, so it's about frailty. And the things that you can do to protect yourself from frailty will ensure a more healthy retirement. So that means the supplements, the antioxidants, the exercise, anything that's a legitimate antioxidant is good for you because it scrubs the insides of your cells and takes away what they call oxidative stress and the toxins that will lead to the demise of those cells, especially the cells in the brain. Because your brain cells are a one-time bank deposit. Your brain got every cell it's ever going to get the day you were born. You never get another one as far as the brain matter itself. All right? And you've been losing them at about 10,000 cells a day. You've got billions, don't worry. Right? But you don't want to accelerate that loss. And using supplements can help with that. So, retirement is not a dead end, it's a crossroads. And whenever you're at a crossroads, it can always lead to anxiety. Do I go left? Do I go right? What does Google say? I don't know. Right? Same thing here. Lots of choices that people have to make, a lot of important decisions that make people anxious. Top of the list, their money and their good health. Make smart choices. You don't always have to listen to Google. Make smart choices and be able to defend those choices, right? So this once again takes us back to you and that value of preparing. I want you to think about 3 people. I want you to think about an Olympic gold medal skier, an astronaut, and a cardiothoracic surgeon. These are all high achievers. They spend their entire lives, their entire careers, planning, preparing, and rehearsing to win, right? No, not so much. Most of the planning and preparing, rehearsing are for disasters, for the unforeseen, for the unexpected. What happens if I get the edge of my ski caught in the snow? What happens if I can't get back inside the space shuttle? Where did all this blood come from? Yeah! They plan and prepare and rehearse so that when that curveball comes, they get back up on their skis and they win that medal. They get back inside that space shuttle. They stop that bleeding. Same for you and same for retiring. If you have a plan and you prepare, then you can expect to enjoy a more financially secure, healthier, and more dignified retirement. But it takes work. But if you plan and prepare, you'll see things coming down the road, working with your financial professionals here at Towerpoint. You'll see things coming down the road before they happen. And you can change strategies. And you may be able to dodge, prevent, delay, postpone something from happening. All of these are good outcomes. And you know what? Sometimes you can't because stuff happens. Serious trauma happens, cancer happens, Alzheimer's happens. But if you have a plan in place, then life goes on and the family will continue to prosper. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not selling you any funds. I'm not selling you any annuities. I'm selling you on the idea if you're willing to plan and prepare today, your future will be better off. As far as planning, all I'm saying is don't let your plans collect dust. So you want to come back to Towerpoint regularly to make sure that you're on track and that these professionals are part of your family. If you have important news, good or bad, one of the first phone calls you make is to your financial advisor because they've been through this route and they have the tools and the strategies and the solutions to guide you for those most important decisions. Don't let them hear about your problems by reading the obituaries. You get on the horn and you call them in. This is what they're here for. Right? Think of them as a life coach. Right? They've seen it before, and they have the solutions to help you. Right? We prepare in every season of life. You prepare for your first car. You prepare to go to college. Here in California, you prepare for your first marriage. That's a very popular joke in Texas. Right? Well, you prepare for retirement too, but the elements of preparation are different than those other activities earlier in life. Now you're preparing for the unexpected. And you're preparing to have others help you, whether it's in documentation, by creating trusts and wills and estates, or by identifying trusted delegates to help you make decisions when you're no longer fully capable, for temporary or for a long-term purpose. Right? These are the important steps you need to do. You cannot put these off. If you don't have a will tonight, get a will tomorrow. If you haven't thought about setting up a trust, get a trust set up. There's important reasons to do it. If you have not signed a living will or a healthcare directive, if you do not have a trusted delegate that someone can call when there's a problem, do it tomorrow. Okay? There's no excuse. Transamerica says, not having a plan, you may be exposed to dwindling assets. You know, God bless America. We're free to do what we want. You're free to plan. You're also free not to plan if you don't want to. But if you don't plan, you may have all the money in the world, but not the health, and vice versa. Right? Nobody wants to be barely hanging on, whether it's financially or physically. Plan and prepare. Don't let it happen. So here's where Transamerica's Wealth and Health connection comes in. At Transamerica, we believe wealth and health are powerfully linked. And that means living well tomorrow starts with the habits that we create today. Always think about your planning. I've got a wonderful friend outside of Dallas. Her name is Helen Harkness. She's a PhD consultant. She's author of the book Career Chaos. She's got this very, very boutique practice where she helps successful adults navigate a sea change to a new career. She's not a headhunter, but she gets in their head to identify the drivers and the motivators that will assure their success in their next job. Helen Harkness taught me, Bill, if you don't have a plan, there is no plan. It may sound simplistic, but the more you say it, you realize it's raw genius. If you don't have a plan, there is no plan. Now, our good friends at AARP, they're a little less subtle about it. If you don't have a plan, someone else will have a plan for you, and you don't want to be there. At Transamerica, we've created the Wealth and Health Initiative by partnering with organizations like the Alzheimer's Association, Stanford Center for Longevity, and the MIT Age Lab. We have created top-line, peer-reviewed, best evidence, professionally written and reviewed, edited content, shared knowledge through your advisors that's available live. It's available in print. It's available online at transamerica.com. It's available on the Transamerica app. It is an encyclopedic library of topics important to the wealth and health of all family members. But with regards to the group we have here, we have wonderful information channels regarding Social Security and smart planning for that. Medicare planning. You do have to plan for Medicare, or you'll be throwing money away, or you'll be suffering with your health. We have a wonderful new program on planning to outsmart cancer, living in the shadow of dementia, other programs on elder abuse, etc. All of it is agnostic. There's no mention of Transamerica or its products. It's all about solid ideas, best information to help guide you going forward. And your advisors have access to all of this free of charge. You can also access it at transamerica.com, where your information is de-identified. You decide to download the Transamerica app, we're not selling your name to Russia or anybody else. All right? And you'll never get a text from us saying, hey, you want to talk about annuities? It doesn't happen. It won't happen. We do not intrude with the relationship that you have with Towerpoint. We supplement it with solid information. The only really important thing I want to say about this one slide is bullet number 3. I did not change the trajectory of my career for some kind of corporate sloganeering campaign. Transamerica has recoded its DNA to become the wealth and health leader in the financial services sector. Nobody has what Transamerica has, and I'm proud to be one of the leaders in helping bringing this to life. We have a colossal head start. You hear about a lot of our competitors talking about financial wellness and they toss in a little salad, whatever. No, no. Ours is from the ground up. And this is who we are and who we're going to be going forward. This is not one kind of seasonal one-off experiment. I mentioned to all the many valuable topics we talk about. Just for one example, the one I'm going to bring up is briefly a short discussion about dementia. Because it's already touched every one of you in this room, and it's touched all of the advisors at Towerpoint as well. It is a colossal problem, and it's a problem that's going to get bigger going forward. But if you have solutions, if you have strategies, if you have the tools to thrive during such a difficult time, that the family can continue to live life as they know it and continue to prosper. So when we talk about dementia, right, it's a decline, a mental ability, but it's only a symptom complex. It's not a diagnosis. There are many kinds of dementia. Sadly, 64% of all new dementia is Alzheimer's disease. And I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But that means 35% plus is not Alzheimer's disease. It's something else. You know about the symptoms that people have when they develop dementia? If you see somebody that's not the way they used to be, get them some help. There's a good chance that they're in that 35% group. What are you talking about? Well, older people have all kinds of problems. Older people trip and fall. If they live alone and bang their head, they don't know they fell, and no one saw them. And they can start acting goofy because of trauma. Or runaway high blood pressure. Or they forgot to start taking their diabetic medications. Super high blood sugars gives people dementia too. Speaking of older people, 47% of women over 70 live alone. People who live alone often do not eat well. So malnutrition's a big problem. Oh, and drinking. I don't want to hear any bragging from the young people in this room. The veterans, they know how to drink. The seniors know how to drink. That's why they have the bottles with the built-in handles for that steady pour. Yeah, you know what I mean. But guess what? That's another problem that's identifiable, diagnosable, and treatable. When you do, boom, your brain comes back. And the biggest one that I haven't mentioned yet, the biggest cause of dementia? Doctors. That's right. Doctors love to write prescriptions, and older people go to lots of doctors. I'll take this one to Walgreens. I'll take this one to CVS. I get this one through the mail. None of the computers are talking to each other. And a lot of seniors' homes are loaded up with all kinds of medications, with all kinds of toxic interactions that people are unaware of. We have a nation of older zombies walking around taking the wrong medications. That's why anybody has symptoms suggesting dementia, you go in to see the doctor. In addition to a comprehensive medical workup, you get a comprehensive medication evaluation as well. This is why the doctor always says, bring your stuff in a paper bag, all your prescription medications, your over-the-counter medications, your herbals, your supplements, your eye drops, your chapstick, bring it all in. And they run it through the computer and they find out this drug is messing up with this drug, they change the dose or get rid of one of the drugs, boop! And Aunt Teresa comes back to life. You could be a hero. That's 35% of dementia cases. Now what about the others though? I use the concept of video versus snapshots, family gatherings. You know, people tend to almost villainize families who are dealing with somebody living in the shadow of dementia. Oh, they're all crazy. Don't they understand what's wrong with him? How can they let him be this way? Well, why shouldn't they? It's that way for them every single day. Every day looks the same. It's like a video. Every frame is identical. Dad has a good day, a bad day, a good bad day, a bad good day. They never change. But you saw them at Christmas, and now they're back on the 4th of July. Holy mackerel, did you see Uncle Terry? He's usually 30 minutes early and dapper and full of funny jokes, and this year he came late and he had food stains on his shirt. You get Uncle Terry in to see a doctor and find out what's going on. They'll do the tests. And you know what? Maybe they find out it is Alzheimer's. But because they found out it's early, mild stage Alzheimer's, that best responds to the few medications they have available to help them not get rid of the Alzheimer's, but to keep them in that early, mild stage for a longer period of time. Because when it comes to dementia and Alzheimer's, the number one things families need more than anything else is time. Time to plan and time to prepare, because everybody knows where it's headed. But if you have time, then the right steps can be done to secure the family finances, to provide the money necessary for the loving care that the individual is going to need, and allow the family to continue to prosper. That's all we're saying. Transamerica has a wonderful program on living in the shadow of dementia, and you can access it directly from your Towerpoint advisor, and they will sit down with you step by step and show you how to make the smartest decisions regarding medications, home health care, daily finances, etc. Great part about living in Sacramento is so many of the nice homes. I heard some people live down in the Pocket area. They have those little boxwood shrubs in the front of their house, which are so nice. Except, of course, for those 2 days of the year, you know, when they need to be trimmed. But isn't it great? You know, you can be there all day trying to chop it up. I'm going to miss the baseball game, you know? Or you could have a next door neighbor that is kind enough to loan you their Craftsman, gas operated, 30-inch power trimmer. I'll be done before the kickoff, right? Same thing here. Transamerica has the tools, free of charge, free of advertising, free of spam, to help you and your family deal with life's greatest challenges. So, in talking about dementia, Transamerica partnered with the MIT Age Lab, and we created a system that has 5 important pillars. I won't bore you with all the details. That's the advisor's job. No, but here they are. Assets, income, insurance. Basically, where's the money? Time to consolidate it so you have access to it for health expenses, to secure it from the black sheep in the family, and every one of you here knows what I'm talking about, and to make sure no one misses any investment opportunities. Intentions, by making sure that the wills and the trusts and the healthcare directives are all filled out ahead of time. There's no greater gift than any adult can give their family than clear intentions, so that even if the end comes and there will be grieving, there'll be comfort in knowing we did exactly what Dad wanted. He got it his way all the way to the end. And a month later, when the checks start coming, you'll thank Dad for having a plan. That's how it works. That's how it works. The last 2, banking administration, care management, sounds boring, but that's the devil in the details. Those are the 2 that rip families apart. Coming home every single day and finding 5 more bills. Right? Trying to figure out transportation. How am I going to get these drug refills? Why can't we get somebody in the house to help Dad, etc. It's all mapped out. You don't have to invent anything. It's all laid out for you. If anybody's looking for a supplement to the Transamerica materials, I'd recommend the wonderful book available on Amazon called The 36-Hour Day. It's like in its 17th printing now. And the original author, whose photo's on the back, he looks like he should be in assisted living. But it's a wonderful book. I've read it 3 times before each journey I've had to take regarding dementia. And if you get past chapter 3 without crying, you're stronger than I am, because it is so clear in its detail. And it describes every thought that you have and explains why you think that way and what it means. 36-hour day. It's a powerful tool. They wouldn't give it to us, so we just tell you about it now, okay? In addition to the Transamerica tools as well. So some of you are probably thinking, when did my financial advisor go to medical school or nursing school? Well, what's all this about? Well, they should be selling me products. Why are we doing this? They're financial professionals, just like EMS workers and firemen. When the building's on fire, when everybody's running out, they're running in. It's nice to be managing people and the curves are all going up, but what about when the people are in trouble? At the moment they need you most. This is what the financial advisor is there for. And they understand this. Specifically, Towerpoint understands it because that's why I'm here. This is the litmus test. Transamerica let me come here. They're telling you, green light, these are the people. Because they already know this. We don't have to teach these people anything. They already get the idea and they embrace the wealth and health philosophy. And they already have access to all the tools you need to get through these challenges in life. In doing what we talked about, the trust in what's in your best interest. So everybody take a deep breath. We're done with dementia. That's a lie. But for now, we're done with dementia. Wealth and health is central in every season of life. Young couples with 2 kids, is dad taking his blood pressure medication? Or maybe the single mom with a teenager trying to get into college and she's trying to manage her diabetes. Or that couple that just turned 60 and the kids have finally left the house for the second time. Yeah, they got a little money, they want to take some cruises. In all 3 scenarios, nothing happens unless there's financial security and the good health to support it. So we propel the Wealth and Health Initiative, obviously through live presentations. Everything's available in print. I invite you all at your leisure to download the Transamerica app. It's lightweight, it's easy, downloads quick, no charge. Your information is completely de-identified. We don't know who you are, but we're here to help you. At transamerica.com, we have the Knowledge Place, loaded with content that speaks directly to you in your language about every concern you have regarding your money, your children's money, your grandchildren's money. Talk about student debt, issues like that, right? We even have an online community that's monitored by a Transamerica professional where you can tell your own wealth and health story or ask questions about anything you may have read as well. We do not intrude in your relationship at Towerpoint. We supplement it, right? This is a screenshot of what the homepage looks like at the Knowledge Place. We have plenty of blogs, little stories that combine wealth and health. So is that expensive? No. We may have to take up a collection here and there. Plenty of articles, many by external contributors that again, provide the latest information on important choices that families confront every single day in the decisions that they have to make. Here's the homepage, transamerica.com. Up left, it says individual. Just click that little box and you're in. No special validation or credentials required, all right? I think your first stop would also, the wisest first stop would be discuss this with your advisor. They can get you everything in hard copy, and then that way you don't have to be playing around downloading stuff. I'm just saying. So here's our takeaway points before we break anything else in this room. Right? Physical wellness and financial wellness are inseparable in every season of life. Americans are getting older, the population is changing, and as we live older, there's going to be new challenges. Are you prepared for them? If you're not prepared, they may seem insurmountable. Right? But if you have the right resources, and caring people to guide you, then you and your family can plan not to survive retirement, but to prosper during retirement. And that's where Transamerica's Wealth and Health Initiative comes in, helping you prepare today for a more healthy and prosperous future. So just a few final thoughts. Oh, that's a real picture, by the way. Yeah, I was coming out of church, and my wife took that. I couldn't remember where I parked the car. Here's our tower. Final thoughts of what we started with, the same original points, right? What do you need to do? What do you need to do now, right? Are you speaking with an authentic voice in your conversations with your advisor? Are you practicing active listening? Do you have access to the resources and the tools and the solutions so that you make the most informed decisions? Do you? Are you planning and are you preparing to survive, merely survive, or for you and your family to prosper during that retirement? And do you feel that sense of trust in knowing that your Towerpoint professionals are doing what's in your best interest? You're very fortunate to be part of this elite group, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here to speak with you tonight. So on behalf of Transamerica Advanced Markets, I want to thank you for your time, and I want to wish each of you for the remainder of 2019, as well as all of 2020, prosperity and the best life, the best future possible. Thank you again. Answer any questions, and I'll stick around if anybody wants to keep drinking and ask me questions.
Bill, thank you. We appreciate it. So obviously all of you, we encourage you to enjoy the Vintage Monkey. Feel free to get personal with Bill and pick his brain a little bit more. I think it goes without being said that we'll follow up with everyone with some of the details and the information that he had spoke about tonight. And we look forward to continuing to marry these concepts of money and wellness together as we help each of you along your life journey. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Enjoy. Thank you.